You guys, we may have a deer problem. Just a little bit. Also, that is the most adorable running duck I have ever seen. Look at him. No, get out of the way, duck. No, you poor thing, get out of the way of the Jeep. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to our forest zone here in Zoo Tycoon 2, the World Zoo. This is where we focus more on our temperate forest animals, and as you can see, a few of our temperate forest animals have taken the freedom and the protection of being within our zoo zone totally to heart and have bred themselves like all over the place. There are so many deer here. I can't even begin to shake a stick at how many deer we have all around us. This is kind of ridiculous. I mean, they're utterly beautiful. I love the fallow deer. We have white-tailed deer. We have turkeys. We have mallards. But I think the population is definitely becoming a little bit unmanageable. Oh my gosh, especially because I have like a fleet of zookeepers here. But we can't even get people on Jeep tours because it's just too full of deer. And so, as I talked about last time, I think it would be really fun to actually set up a national forest at the back of this zoo where we could release all of those extra deer and see if we can keep the population in check by leaving some predators in with them. And we'll just have to see if that works out or not. The way that the game is actually coded may not properly represent some of that balancing of ecosystems quite as elegantly as is done in Taito ecology, but I think it would be an interesting experiment for sure. So we're going to go ahead, and today is the day we shall found the national forest, and the day we will hopefully be able to repopulate several of the exhibits that have actually become empty over time. I realize that we're missing our wildcats. We used to have quite a few wildcats and kittens, but I don't think we did very good zoo management at keeping breeding populations available in our zoo. So I'm pretty sure this exhibit is now 100% empty, and we need to fix that with the Scottish wildcat ASAP. So there's a lot to do today, but we're going to start by going ahead and establishing that national forest, because the fallow deer has just given birth once more way back here at the back of the zoo. So we're going to go ahead and we'll just sort of, oh, what's this? The marketing department is preparing a new zoo brochure and has requested pictures of the following: a guest holding an ice cold soda, a guest sitting on the bench. All right, we can definitely like pull those off. We might have to put down like some soda can dispensers, but we can manage that. All right, so now the red deer has given birth. So I think that this much space should be plenty for the future of our zoo, and we'll just go ahead and go all the way across. Woo, there we go. Just like straight across the entire thing, and all of this space up here is going to be dedicated to just letting the animals free roam and free range, and we might actually make it a little bigger over time. And I'm kind of tempted to just like kind of connect it a little bit. I truly am just kind of tempted to like connect the whole thing, but I want to have predators roaming loose, and I don't know if having, well, you know what, you're probably safe with predators in a Jeep safari. You probably are, actually. I mean, people go on safaris all the time, so now I'm kind of intrigued. I kind of want to do it. Let's do it, guys. Instead of having to manually move the deer, let's just make this entire area available to them. And we might even expand the Jeep tour as a result, or have multiple Jeep tours. But we'll build up this big spot over here. We'll just leave this little, this is our compost storage bin, hidden way back here behind some trees to try to discreetly hide it. We'll just leave that there as like a ranger station sort of appearance. And I think we should just go ahead and transform this entire swath into a big, beautiful forest, and we're going to release a very special predator into these woods. I actually changed my mind. We're not going to release the wolf. We're going to release another natural predator of deer that will be a great example of who you could expect to keep some of the deer populations in check. If you guys are from the United States, then you may know about the out-of-control white-tailed deer populations and the immense damage that they have done over time to so much of the landscape, and also to the biology, the biodiversity of forest. White-tailed deer are actually one of the driving factors of extinction for many species, not just like plants, but species that relied on the plants that the white-tailed deer will eat into the ground because they will eat anything. And so trying to keep white-tailed deer populations in check as humanely as possible is actually something that I am very, very, very passionate about. You can see a whole bunch of interesting videos from when we went to Bald Head Island a little over a year and a half ago, and I spoke with the biology researchers there about how they're trying to control the white-tailed deer population on Bald Head Island in North Carolina, which is a little island off the coast, and how the out-of-control deer population from the deer actually swimming across the salt water little like islet of water, like I forget what you call it. It's like a branch of water that's about a mile wide, and the deer would swim across to reach the island in search of more food. And now that they're on Bald Head Island and they can get there a little easier, now that the landscape and geography has changed, when some hurricanes came in and brought a bunch of sand and made like easy sandbars for them to get to, the white-tailed deer are threatening some of the unique species of animals and plants and the oak trees, these huge oak trees. Okay, so look at these deer, guys. And you wouldn't imagine these little deer could threaten an oak tree. Like, think of a gigantic... I don't even think we have an oak tree in this entire zoo. Like, think of a tree this big and then make it 5 or 6 times bigger. That's how big and beautiful these majestic oak trees that we saw on Bald Head were. And the white-tailed deer were driving those oak trees into extinction, not by eating the adult tree, but by eating all of the little saplings that were on the ground that were the baby version of those adult trees that needed a good 300 years to grow to those majestic sizes. Truly took my breath away. It'd be like if you were in a redwood forest. People know how beautiful redwoods are, and they know how gorgeous those trees are. Well, again, if you have a bunch of deer eating the tiny little sapling trees, because they eat everything, they will eat everything to the ground. The testament is in the multiple dead, beautiful vegetable gardens I have lost to white-tailed deer when I used to have like my raised bed vegetable gardens. They would eat it to the ground. Oh my gosh, it was awful. But the white-tailed deer will eat it like just completely gone, and then you don't have any more redwoods, and then you don't have any more of these like 300-year oak trees because they got eaten in year 1 or 2 by deer. So keeping deer populations in check is something I'm a little bit passionate about, and I can get on a soapbox about for quite a while. So in the interest of trying to do that, we're actually gonna ease up some of the trees, maybe to represent, hey, the deer have been overpopulating this exhibit area. They've eaten all the trees. No, just ease it up a little bit because it will actually prevent us from having quite as much lag over here. There we go. That should definitely help us out, actually. Like, no joke, that's probably going to be, look at that, beautiful. That's going to be a huge help in having less lag. But let us transform the new national forest we're going to have for the deer into a proper territory. And we'll go, should we go with open woodland? Yeah, we'll go with the open woodland. And that's the other really interesting thing about white-tailed deer, because you would think with so much population loss that so many species have suffered in the United States, that maybe they wouldn't be such a big issue because white-tailed deer would be losing their populations too with the growth of cities and the way that so many habitats are being destroyed, right? Well, actually, one of the sneaky things about white-tailed deer that make them beautifully adapted to urban environments is that they don't thrive in thick, deep forest. They thrive kind of on the edges of forest areas, the edges of forest zones where the trees are a lot thinner and where the grass is a lot more open, and basically they thrive in the kind of typical environments we have made with your typical suburban neighborhood, where you've got some trees in people's backyards and some trees like in little cute little parks and clusters, but for the most part we have those big open expanses of grass in our own front yards and backyards and between the houses and down the road, with a few trees mixed in and a lot of bushes and like ornamental things that are delicious for the deer. They thrive in that kind of environment. So by the habitat loss for other creatures, by getting rid of the old growth forest and the deep growth forest, the white-tailed deer actually love the compromise that we have provided, which is they love being able to be in a suburban environment with those open areas. That's exactly what they thrive in. So we're going to give them kind of a big open area here as well. And we're going to be mixing in lots and lots of features to our new national park. I'm really excited to mix this in. We probably will vastly expand the Jeep tour. Like if you sign up for a Jeep tour now, you're going to be on that tour for like the next 4 hours, guys. I hope that all of our guests are prepared. So let's make a nice little lake over here. And we can make the ducks very happy that way. Another perk of being able to do it like this, where we have this gigantic part of our zoo that we are about to dedicate to just being like a forest, is we can have a huge multi-species exhibit. And having multi-species exhibits is always very fun. All right, and we might make like a fun little waterfall over here in the future. Maybe like over in this spot, we'll raise up the ground. We'll create a cliff. There we go. Like kind of back here. Nice! That's actually really cool. I like that look. We'll make it like a little another cliff right over here, and we'll smooth it out some, because we want to provide some of, there we go, some interesting little environment tweaks here and there. There we go. Nice. All right, and then we'll just kind of like smooth it out again. A little bit odd. I want to kind of connect to the cliffside now. I'm sort of drawing on my memories of when I used to live in Missouri, and when I used to walk around, there we go, Katy Trail, which is a very, very popular trail in Missouri. It's kind of like people knowing the Appalachian Trail, and yes, that is actually how you pronounce it. Trust me, I lived there for a while. They were very strict about pronouncing it Appalachian. But let's move this. There we go. There we go. Yeah, we'll make some little hills here and there. Not too much, because having the flat area is a little bit easier for us to work with. There, but we do want to provide a little bit of change, and we'll put in like a little waterfall in the future over here too. But I mostly just want to open this area up for the deer and let them start exploring and expanding and propagating across the whole area. So we'll grab some of the trees. There we go. Some of these beautiful old growth trees. Not too many again. We might add more over time as the deer population begins to ease up on us a little bit. In fact, let's come down and let's see what kind of trees they recommend. Is this a whitetail? I know that there's tons of white-tailed deer. Here we go. And do we have any recommendations for trees? No, because it's a modded animal. So let's try with the fallow deer. No, another modded animal. They're beautiful, but because they're modded, they're a little bit persnickety at like giving us hints. Here, let's go for the turkey. Where's a turkey? Come here, turkey. Ah, there we go. We'll let the eastern turkey dictate what kind of trees the deer get. Like small birch trees are in. It is inside the zoo walls, you silly things. All right, let's see. Anything else? Maybe hazel. Oh, there's so many trees to pick from. There's so many. Okay, oh, hickory tree. Oh, what's this? Ooh, like a nice little bush. Yeah, we'll kind of decorate with it. What do you? Okay, there we go. Or like these trees. I just don't want to add in trees that are going to be a little bit too intense and maybe crash things. So I might have to go through like the European beech tree. Maybe a few of those in like a little cluster. They're very beautiful. I actually went to a beech and a birchwood forest for the first time in May up around the Great Lakes, and I was really taken back by how lovely they were. And they grow in really like thick profusions too, so you just see this sea of big white tree trunks, and it was very lovely. All right, so we'll work on expanding. We're gonna have to work on expanding the national forest in a little bit, but let's just open it up now and release the deer. Dun 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 dun. And we'll kind of build a whole bunch of their eating locations. We'll kind of mimic like, oh, this is where you can find a lot of grass, and we'll hide the grass within it. I like doing it like that so it can feel a little bit more naturalistic. All right, let's go ahead. I'm gonna remove this because I think that's kind of part of the huge chunk of lag we're getting. There we go. And you can see there's all the turkeys. The turkeys are now free. The deer are now free. We'll remember that we have guests in just a minute, but we're going to make this big, gigantic sort of national forest now that hopefully the deer and everybody else will start frolicking in. We'll put in some shade structures to sort of mimic where the trees are. In fact, I'll just like stack them in a little pile like this to mimic where the trees are going. And then we'll do it again over here. Because deer, like, they don't always tend to stay in groups. There's only a few times of year, because they're seasonal breeders, where you're going to find a whole bunch of deer, at least of the whitetail variety. This is probably not true for all species. Like, I see a lot of the fallow deer, the beautiful ones with the spots. Whenever I see pictures of them, they're always in these big groups together. Is that normal, guys? Like, those of you who live over in England and you have them, like, kicking around in a park or something, is that how they normally show up, or are they more independent, like whitetail deer? If the whitetail deer is not in its like big breeding season where the moms are gonna kind of stick together to try to protect the babies, then they're usually on their own. They're pretty solitary. Especially the males tend to be like really, really on the move all the time, but you will occasionally, especially when there's babies involved. When we were up in Boone in the Appalachian Mountains, you would see whitetail deer in groups, which always interests me. You'd see like 4 or 5 fawns, and you'd see the females, and you couldn't really tell if it was like on purpose or by accident that they were all hanging out together. Like, hey, this just happened to be the safest and the nicest place to graze today, and so they're just all hanging out together kind of more by accident, or if it was like on purpose. So you couldn't really tell, but we'll get there. All right, so the deer don't know that they're free yet. They should figure it out pretty soon, and we can start moving. Oh, there's one deer who's kind of figuring it out, and we'll start moving like some food resources up along the edges so that they'll start getting the idea that, hey, I can walk over to this section. There we go. And now we've got this big gigantic, look at this is awesome. Look at all this space. This is fantastic. Dandelions! Oh my gosh, I want to have a little dandelion like wish park that we can put down and put a whole playground at. Look, the deer are coming, you guys! All right, so we'll put down some more little water stations and food stations in various locations, and we will let the deer start realizing, hey, we can get out of this horrific lag zone. I kind of wonder if the bulk of the lag is actually this like water right here, but the ducks look so happy. I don't want to get rid of their water. So anyway, we'll see how many of the deer and the other animals start cottoning on to the fact, hello buddy, that they, oh, look at that. Well, that didn't take you long to figure out, ma'am. Yeah, look at this. Oh, look, and there's a little fawn right over here. You look kind of like an alpaca from this angle, little fawn. But we'll let them start spreading out into this big forest, and then we'll introduce the chosen predator, who I think almost exclusively hunts deer and is an ambush predator of North America. So I kind of, if you guys know anything about North American predators, then those 3 facts, I should say: ambush predator, almost exclusively tends to eat deer, and is in North America. Those facts should have completely given it away. So I would love to hear your guys' guesses about what kind of predator is going to be added in once the deer sort of figure out a little bit more. Hey, you guys can get out of this side. Which predator are we going to be adding in, guys? I'm really curious if you can guess. But we'll work more on the little national forest that we have. Well, it's a big national forest that we have just built, and we will start expanding the path so that our guest will be able to walk around more of the zoo, and adding in more things to make our guest happier very soon. But we also need to start refilling a whole bunch of these old exhibits, and we're going to remove this themed exhibit that we have right here of the winter festival and put in something more appropriate for autumn in just a bit. But I'm very happy with the expanded Ethiopian wolf exhibit. I'm very happy with the massively expanded, way overdue forest that hopefully the deer will begin to continue to spread out in and give us a little bit of a better population balance in, especially once we add in some predators. And we'll have to turn this into like a big gigantic multi-species area. We already have ducks, 3 different species of deer, and mallards in here, but I would love, or and the turkeys in here, I mean, but I would love to add in even more species. Like maybe we'll move some of the porcupines in here. That would be really cool. I wonder if we have a skunk. We'll have to figure out if we have a skunk or not, but I'm really looking forward to that, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.